Break time.
Thought you came down here.
Right.
It's shame.
Doesn't-
You're
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. We're all here to give me a second. All right, let's go ahead and start. If city clerk will note the attendance of council member, staff, and mayor. Move on to agenda approval. Are there any proposed changes, modifications to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, unless there are objections, we'll take the agenda as approved. Hearing no objections, we are approved. Let's move on then to approval of the minutes dated August 8th, 2023. Any comments, suggestions, or revisions in regards to the minutes?
No.
Chair has none. Council members have none. Unless there are objections, we'll take the minutes as presented as approved. No objections, the minutes are approved. Let's go into consideration of claims approval report dated August 28th, 2023. I have no questions or comments in regards. Are there any questions or comments in regards from other council members? And a quick look, I do not believe that I have received any email questions in regards to either. If I do, I'll come back and ask. Okay. All right, with that, unless your objection, we'll take the claims report as presented, approved. All right, approved. Thank you for that from staff. So we'll take the claims report approved. Moving on to agenda bills. Go to agenda bill 23097 Pacific West Rail Model Train Museum. Okay, that's the only one we've got going. We have some action as a result of the last council meeting. Anybody want to lead us through this conversation, or is just for us to talk?
It's for you to talk.
For you to-
We have Nicole Weeby online, who's available to answer questions. City attorney's in house. I'm here to answer questions. We prepared a document and got it out today to you folks in response to the questions we received. So it's 14 pages.
On document.
Yeah. If you want, I can give you a word count. I got to pull it up.
No, can we, that went out today, so we really haven't had time to review it.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you send it just to committee or to full council?
Full council.
Great. So, yeah, awesome.
And I would state that a lot of the questions had been answered in your emails, I guess, last week. And so what we did was just kind of take it all and put it into a nice document
Nice.
and get rid of the yellow highlights and stuff. So
Great.
That went out today.
That's when I saw it. So to council member, Holloway, to council member Holloway's point, I saw it today and briefly to say I skimmed it is nice. I haven't had a chance to fully go through all the information. So yeah, at this point, it's kind of,
It went out at 2:09 p.m.
it's going to be weekend reading for me.
Oh, okay, there it is. Do we want to, so how do we want to proceed from here? We're due to respond back to council next week in regards to this. I haven't had time to go through this. We can bring it up and go through it. I know you have several questions. I want to make sure that we've incorporated those concerns or questions.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to, I'm not gonna be able to figure that out on the fly. 14, like, I'm gonna have to read it with time to study it.
Yeah, so Brian, we would need to report back to council Monday.
Yeah, well, this is due back to council next Monday.
So I would need time to go through it.
So unfortunately, we'll leave that as a council discussion. Part of the intent was to try to hit some of that off, but okay, we'll do it as a council discussion. But follow with that, we also had F&A. We were to talk about, okay, no, wait, that's secondary. That's a different matter. Never mind, I'll hold off on that. We have at least action to talk about how we, the council, are gonna help in engagement on the pool. That was an action to F&A, but that's a separate matter from the Railroad Museum. Sorry, I was mixing. Okay, we'll proceed forward with the note as you presented out in email, have discussion in council, hopefully. Therefore, there will be some other discussions going on this week in this matter too, and hopefully proceed on from there. Yes, Mr. Shambles.
So the applicant is scheduled to be out of town and he's going to change his plans to be here on Monday. Are we anticipating action or I mean, I don't want to upset his plans if it's, I don't know.
I'm content if he zooms in.
Okay.
Okay, I don't think there's. This is not open heart surgery right now. It's more like knee surgery. So I'm okay with him being Zoom at this stage.
Okay.
No guarantee on the outcome of the procedure, but let's go ahead and have that. Give that impression. Zoom is okay.
So there's no need for presentation updates. I mean, we've seen the presentation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not from the applicant.
We're just responding to questions now.
I think so.
Okay, great.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, I don't know how to help answer the question because I haven't seen the document. So
No, I understand.
there's no way. I was a little nervous about the comment. So in the comments that I summarized that went back on Friday, and by the way, just I think tremendous efforts going in here. Mr. Chambliss was on vacation last week. First thing yesterday morning, he got right on this. So I mean, this is getting all kinds of attention. There's really, I mean, people are doing everything they can do to address this.
Anna and Nicole were on it all weekend. And all four of us have been on, the city attorney, I think, was on it all night. So the four of us, yes, we're definitely.
So I just make that comment so that you know that we know that, we see that. I was a little bit worried that what I tried to do was only leave remaining questions. So if the thought is those remaining questions were already answered, we may have a problem, because the reason I still had questions is because I thought they were not answered. So I'm a little bit worried about that. So kind of when I heard that comment a few minutes ago, the thought that went through my mind is, oh boy, get on that first thing tomorrow, because if there is something that I'm going to perceive anyway, or maybe others would perceive as not yet answered, I think you want to hear that as soon as possible, because I think you're trying to get us to done. So we got to try and help you do that. So that's kind of what
We
the
didn't
to-do I
just
took.
repackage the email. Additional information has been placed in there, new information and responses to your questions
Great.
have been added. So
Yeah. So I mean, it's absolutely clear to me that you're trying to get us to the finish line, and I certainly am going to do everything I can to help us get there as well. And so, you know, the reason I asked, you know, had it gone out to the whole council is, I think, Chair, if either you or I'm happy to do it, if anyway, I think it'd be really helpful if we encourage the rest of the council members, please do look at this week, please.
Okay.
And please, if any of you see any, you know, additional questions or thoughts, get them in, because we're trying to get to the finish line.
Chair, I just wanted to chime in, following up on Councilmember Mayhew's suggestion. To the extent any of the three of you, or if another council member has a concern or would like to see a change or would like to talk about a change, we're not going to be able to really negotiate with Mr. Hambling here on a contract change. But if you can get it to me in advance, I can share it with his attorney in advance and get their reaction, maybe get their pre-approval or at least some sort of a feedback for you to consider before the meeting, and maybe that will help smooth things along or move things along. So that's just a suggestion.
Yeah, excellent. We must try and do that. Along those same lines, it occurred to me as you were making your comment that there is a meeting scheduled on this topic with tribal representatives from the Snoqualmie tribe this Friday. And it may be, you know, I don't want to, I have no idea what will happen in that meeting. We will see. But it may be that we hear some things that we might want to pass through to Mr. Hambling. I don't know. We might, though. And so maybe if he was alerted that that potentially could happen, and then, you know, we're in a, you know, Friday's late in the game, but you know, as compared to Monday, but still, if we were able to pass things through to him as best we were able, if there is anything, then maybe if he's alerted that might be helpful.
we are keeping him informed all along the way,
Of
and
course
we'll
you
make
are,
sure he is, and we'll be standing by Friday to respond all weekend if necessary.
Fantastic. That's all we can do.
All right, let's get back with the agenda then. So I can find the beast. Thank you. I love printouts. All right, so that was the agenda bill 2397. Let's move to discussion. The first one is agenda bill 23104, council priority tracker. That's a shot in the dark, but go on.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, committee members. Carson Hornsby, management analyst. This purpose of this agenda bill is to have a discussion on this tool that staff have been working on called the Council Priority Tracker. So to give a bit of background on council priorities before I get into this tool. If you recall back in 2022, the council priorities for this current biennium were approved at the council retreat in March of 2022. And so those council priorities guided staff through the biennial budget process and helped the finance department decide where, what things to fund to advance your priorities. So we got the budget passed, and then at our council retreat in March of 2023, we revisited those priorities. And if you recall, the facilitator led a discussion on the general state of the city, the different milestones that council intends to accomplish within the next 1 to 2 years, and the success indicators that are related to each of those accomplishments. So by all accounts, it seemed like a very successful retreat. And then in the following discussion, follow-up discussion about the retreat, council requested a tool or a way for staff to keep council informed of the progress on different projects and initiatives that advance the council's priorities. So that kind of brings us to current day, and this is the result of that request, the council priority tracker. So I'll go ahead and share it up on screen. It's a lot of information, so it's going to be hard to see up on screen. So I'll zoom in here a little bit, and then just give you a brief summary of the tool. Okay, can you guys see that all right? All right, so I'm starting up in the upper left-hand corner of this document. So this first column, it's the name of the project. And then the next 6 columns over are each of the council priorities for the 23-24 biennium. To recap on what those priorities are, they're encourage economic vibrancy, bolster neighborhood livability, invest in transportation and infrastructure, enhance quality of life, assure a safe community, and ensure fiscal transparency and operational stability. So if a project advances any one or more of those priorities, there will be a check mark in each of those boxes. And you'll notice that many of these projects advance multiple priorities. So it's just a way to kind of see what projects are related to each of those priorities. Moving further to the right, there's a column for the department. This is basically just lists the department that's, the primary department working on the project. In some cases, there will be multiple departments working together on the project. The next 2 columns are start and end date. It's pretty straightforward, but I think in some cases, the reason that this tool is helpful is that in some cases those dates will change. So in some cases, maybe a project gets finished earlier, or maybe there's a roadblock and the end date gets pushed back a little bit. We want to keep you guys informed to make sure that you're aware of the timelines on those projects. The next steps column here, further to the right, this is just a way to give you an idea of where the project currently stands, what phases are upcoming, kind of, how the project is looking, like what the next steps are. The next column over is a column about the primary contact for the project. So we have these hyperlinked. So if you have any questions about any of these items and you don't get the in-depth information that you're looking for from this tool, you can just click the link on their name and it'll pull up an Outlook email, and you can ask your questions or request the information that you need. Moving on to the notes section. This varies a bit from project to project, but it's basically just an extra area for staff to kind of give some relevant information for you as a quick snapshot into each of these projects. And then last but not least is hyperlinks. If there are any web pages or more detailed project timeline, we have provided a link in this section for you to visit the link and get that information. So that, I think, should give you a pretty high level summary of what this document, the intentions of this document. Again, it's just supposed to be a very high level overview of these projects. So if you have more detailed questions or would like to request more detailed information, then we hope that we've provided the resources within this document for you to reach out or do some more research on that as well. So I think that's all I have. We wanted to have a discussion with committee members tonight to find out if you have other ideas, if you have ideas on how we can improve this tool to make it the best it can be and to make it useful to all of you. We'd love to hear. And then maybe some discussion on a timeline of following up with updates as well. So I'll go ahead and open it up for some discussion.
Still digesting and looking at some of the hyperlinks. Well, I mean, this is a result of the retreat we had. So as far as the left-hand side of the chart, I don't see a change to that unless there's a round table, unless we, the council, get together and decide to make any changes on that side. It pretty well, it was done in the retreat and it goes from there until we change it. So I don't think we're driving them to do periodic updates. Give me that look. Why are you giving me that look?
That didn't happen, what you said. The columns are correct.
Yeah, I don't think this section.
Columns, no, the columns are fantastic. But I'm trying to figure out, we're trying to accomplish something here that I think is really. Sorry,
Community engagement. Yeah, go ahead.
No, this isn't trying to do community engagement. I think this is trying to be a tool so that everyone, council, staff, I think it's trying to get us all focused and carrying through on what this work that we've done at council retreat and so on. I think that's the intent. I think that intent is fantastic. What I'm sort of struggling with is, okay, how do we do that? So so I'm trying to think, how is this going to get used, and how do we, because the goal, I think, is make things be alive, make things move, make things consistent, right? We're doing this because, this priority and so on. But I don't know how to make this work. So, for example, there's, I just took the first column, encourage economic vibrancy. I just counted, there's 22 check marks. Okay, we're not, the 20, it's too many. I can't track 22 items. 22 items probably need to be tracked. So that, I'm not disputing that. And so the thought therefore is, okay, how do we do that then? And then I saw what I thought was really helpful was the department column. And so I thought, okay, let me just focus on one department and think about the committee. And so I thought, like, okay, let's take community development. And some of these basically don't say, and I look in the notes column, it's like, it's just sort of, some of these things are happening, some nothing's happening, but many of these I thought, well, has community development talked with staff about this? So, because maybe that's a way of breaking this down, right? So, because if there were, I have no, I didn't count this, but let's say there's 6 items under community development. Well, that's something the community development committee could probably, 6 is a number they could handle. 22 is probably not. But maybe this would then be used to sort of say, hey, here's status on this. And this becomes a way of sort of articulating back and forth between what staff's doing, committee being aware, informing the council. Maybe that's how we sort of use this. I'm a little bit confused on some, like this first column is called projects. Well, some of these things are projects. Many of them are not projects at all. Like one is named urban growth area boundaries. That's not a project. That's a topic, I guess. So I'm just sort of struggling with, but I know why this is written here. That's what we put on a board at the retreat. Remember, we put those stickers up. I'm pretty sure that was something we put up as, but we didn't really at that time we didn't try to boil this down to make it make sense. So some of these, I think this is fantastic. How do we make this make sense and then be something that we use to drive to outcomes? And I can't see how that works right now.
Well, and it maybe we have work to do.
Maybe that's all I'm saying.
Pete, I got kind of the same issue in that these are things we said we want to look at, and want
Yes.
to do something about. Okay, but if I go to the other step, I get, oh, the next singular step is this. I don't see what are the overall plan. And if I go to those links, the railroad link links to the railroad website.
Oh.
The mill site links to an internal page which has everything and anything we've ever done in regards to the mill site and all the documentation, and everything else. And I'm in the middle of the forest, unable to see the trees. Okay, for what we're particularly talking at that moment. All right. So we may want to talk about, okay, how do we, in a uniform way across this, represent, this is the thing we're doing, and these are the steps we're thinking we're going through, and what's the status to those steps? I'll call it a project plate, but whatever, but one standard one that we use for each and every one that we can look at and say, here we are. You have your hand up.
I just would encourage, we tried to keep this user friendly, so it got used.
Right.
Because you don't want to make a very complicated thing that's so complicated that no one's has time to, or staff or anybody around to complete. So that's
Then it
one of
just dies.
exactly. So we kind of based it on our CIP tracker, which is probably where the word project came from, in all seriousness. Topic is a much more apropos name. But so that was kind of our thinking in it, was to really make it easy to update, easy to use, not that we're spending hours and hours and hours on that, because we have 1,000 other fires we got to fight every day. And so.
Okay,
Yeah.
but can you bring the thing up? Yeah. Let's take case in point. Railroad Museum. Okay. How is this telling me what we, the city, we, the council, are doing in support of the Railroad Museum? And I'll tell you that link right now goes to the Railroad Museum website, which really doesn't answer the question.
So you're referring to the Roundhouse project?
Does,
Didn't know that. Okay.
Right?
is
This is the round.
That's right, yeah.
Northwest Railroad Museum applicant is currently addressing city review comments. I don't know of what. And again, the
The
link,
Roundhouse project.
the link there goes to their website.
Yeah.
But again, I'm missing the story of what are we, the city, doing in regards to this topic? And,
Right.
and that may be things, that may be a thing. I don't know. But it'd be nice to see what those things are. And kind of, if not a minimum, a sequence, but maybe even some dates or rough dates
fuzzy dates and we think we want to do these things in these timeframes. You may only record it as quarterly or yearly or whatever, because these things will shift all over. Okay. But that didn't tell me Roundhouse.
No, and that's very helpful feedback. It's very helpful feedback.
So I
Which is
think
what
you're.
we're here today for. is
Yeah, but
this.
no, I think I think that back and forth made the point. This is way down the road of what we need. This is fantastic,
Oh, yeah.
but we're maybe needs a little, and I think that's what you led with, saying sort of, okay, here's what we got so far, give us some feedback. And I think that's, let's do that. My suggestion would be maybe divide this up and ask each council committee to take the ones that go with their department, the departments that their committee, works with, and seek to clarify the things we're talking about, kind of massage these into a clear statement of, okay, this is the thing. Like, I think that Northwest Railway Museum is perfect. Just so you know, I similarly honestly, I thought maybe someone had made a mistake and confused row 2 and row 3, because I had no idea there was a city review comes, like I didn't know anything was going on. So that was news to me. So, but that could have been cleared up by the note saying roundtable or roundhouse project, just a few more words probably could have cleared that up, along with, as I think Councilmember Holloway said, maybe some timeframes. So, okay, there's a thing, that's the timeframe, maybe a little bit, but so maybe this is sort of or 80% of the way there kind of thing, but ask the committees to work to turn it into.
Well, and let's keep it simple. That being, have the committees look at what are the things, just a bulleted text list of what are the things and whenabouts. And if there's any status against any of those things, there's a sub bullet under it says, here's where we currently are with that. And nothing more. Let's keep it simple. I hear you. Let's keep it simple.
Do you want a contact person though?
Sure. That would be, would you do it at that level, or if you've got a contact person at that level, would you keep the contact person at that level, or do you want it down at the bulleted list level?
No, I'd want to keep it at that level.
Yeah, let's keep it at that level.
So I think some of them actually have project plans that you can link them to. I guess the model train, for instance, right now it goes to the Pacific West Rail, right? But we actually have a project place on, I guess, page on the website, so they could link to that. I think overall, in the past, you haven't had anything that's shown you, here's a clear picture of where we are on our goals, right? We actually have projects that we are working on in each and every area. And that's one thing that we kind of defined when we were at the council retreat. And then I guess our staff takeaway was, okay, so what does this mean? We had some projects on there that we put in there. What would accomplishing a goal look like? And some of those projects were put in that area. And so this is kind of expanding, what does accomplishing a goal look like? So we have all the different projects that are tied to it, and we can tighten up the information that's on there. And it'd be better if we can just have it tied to a project, so you can always go to the link and see, oh, this is where we are in that. So, but it's,
I don't want to reinvent if we've got it.
So council goals aren't on here, only council priorities are. So if we're trying to track council goals, then we probably got the wrong stuff on here. Did we make goals, or did we just make priorities?
In the budget document for this biennium, I believe there are, with each priority, there's maybe anywhere from 1 to 3 goals under each one. I can try and pull that up.
So the challenge is, because I think to what Mayor was sort of articulating as what we're trying to achieve here, if what we're trying to do is sort of focus on goals, then probably goals should somehow be on here.
well, then maybe I used the wrong term, because these are the items that we tracked. We talked about at the council retreat.
as priorities, right?
As priorities is fine.
Yeah, because a goal and a priority are two very different things. But so maybe what you're saying is, hey, what are we doing against our priorities? And if that's what you're saying, then this is right. Maybe we just
Right.
got a word.
I think it's just wrong word.
mismatch. Yeah,
This is
okay.
what these are the things that we tracked or talked about at the council retreat.
Yeah, so talking about these are the priorities we set up, and these are some of the things that we said are going on that would fit those priorities. So how are we doing? Making any progress? And if that's, I think that's a fantastic goal. So,
Yeah, my only, and I totally agree with you. The reason I pause is, I think if you ask 6 people in the room definitions on goals, priority, objectives, you'll get 12 different answers.
yes, but
Yeah, but
luckily
okay, but
the English language has, words have actual meanings that you
know.
can look up in a dictionary.
But English is somewhat fuzzy too. So yeah, I agree with the discussion you just had. But just let's.
Yeah, no, Mayor's right. I was sort of getting, I thought maybe she was saying something different, but she wasn't.
Right.
So she clarified. So what she's trying to do is say, let's track how we're doing against what we said was important to do. And if the word is goal, the word is prior, yeah, that wasn't, she wasn't getting involved up in the word. And so I agree, let's not, whatever word, but that's what she's trying to achieve. And I think that's fantastic.
So why don't we? And I'm willing to have the conversation in council that says, here this is, and then action out to each of the committees. You take your items off this, you come up with that, you either, if there's an existing CIP project, link to it. Or if it already there, you say, I'm done. If not, bulleted list of these are the things we're going to do in relation to this priority, kind of a general idea of timeline and any status that can be done.
I'd ask that you let us take it back, repackage it, put the right words in. And make sure the links aren't just links thrown in there, they're links that make sense. And then bring it back and then take it to council.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just one
All right, never mind.
One suggestion is those council priorities, the columns that are council priorities. So we all know their priorities. You might just, if you can, just put something above the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them that just says council priorities. So they actually know that's what those 6 things are.
Got it.
And then, yeah, I don't want to get too caught up in words, but I think project wasn't quite the right word. You had a better word. When I heard you say it, it sounded really
You
good.
said it.
Oh, did I?
Topic.
Oh.
I'm not gonna take credit for that.
Okay, so yeah, so maybe do a little cleanup like that, and maybe in some of these notes, you could just add a little bit more. I think maybe then you get a big step forward of what you actually, are clearly trying to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Clear
as mud.
Yeah, absolutely. I think something that's important to take into account is that a lot of these projects will be at different stages. So one project, there might be a ton of information out there, a bunch of different links that we could put in there. But then maybe there's also projects that are kind of at, a more conceptual phase. So I just wanted to mention that. But I think as far as the project or what will be the topic column, we could probably edit some of these to make it a little bit more descriptive.
To that point, so there's the one column here, next steps. That's great. Is it possible to add a status column for that very reason?
Like the current step.
So
if
hang
you
on,
will.
I think what you're heading toward is what we're talking now, the bulleted list. Let's talk about what are those things we're doing in relationship to this topic? And if it's an active thing,
Right.
we put a sub bullet to it, says, here's where we currently are on. Other ones will just have sometime in the future, we want to look at water rights in regards to Timbuktu.
So-
These guys.
As we were evolving this, we had thermometers, we had percentages, and it just was adding complexity and not much value for that complexity. So that's why we axe that. And it's like,
Keep it simple.
here's the topic, here's who to contact if it's, really important. So that's why we went that way. Because we just don't have the depth in our bench to just manufacture those type of documents constantly.
No, but I also think, sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
One of the real benefits, I think we stumbled into it, but I think one of the real benefits is those committee discussions we're talking about. So the committees are participating in what's going on with these things, and we're having an active conversation and clarifying understanding based on that bulleted list of what are the things we're doing in relationship and where we are with it. Okay. I think that's an excellent step for us to go do and take. And I don't want you guys off going create anything else. Let's have that conversation. So that's what was my reluctance on, let us take us back. Go ahead, take it back, do a scrub. Because there may be some things we could just link off to say, here it is. We should review it in committee. As long as there's understanding, we're done. That's the status of what it is. But I think that committee conversation it was fantastic.
This personal goal I have, I don't know if it's shared by anyone in this room.
No.
Or anyone on the council. But I spoke with one of the committee chairs who's a new committee chair over the last year. And I asked a question of something like, hey, kind of how are you approaching, topics, or kind of how, how are you thinking about this? And the answer was, I'm paraphrasing, basically, I don't have a clue. I don't, so it occurs to me that in my experience on the council, let me say it this way. It seems to me that if we're really hitting on all cylinders, virtually every agenda bill should be on consent. Virtually zero agenda bills shouldn't be on consent. Why do I say that? Because they should be arising from topics that we said were priorities to work on, that we all knew were being worked on, that we knew were progressing towards completion. And therefore, it's a snooze when the agenda bill comes forward to actually do the thing, because yeah, we all knew that was coming. Yeah. Okay, good, great. So the whole topic, if I think to help us do our job better, is spend virtually all our time on topics here, as opposed to individual agenda bills, which are pretty much, just the mechanics of doing this. So that's sort of my dream, is that this becomes how the council interacts with staff, not agenda bill by agenda bill, or what it's all in this framework is. So I don't know if others share that, but so that's what I'm hoping we kind of move in that direction and help in that way. I think staff isn't surprised by council then. I think council isn't surprised by staff. Like the whole thing works better is my hope.
Kind of agree and kind of disagree.
Okay.
Well, not all the decisions we make are binary, black and white. And I think we, the council, represent a 7-digit binary number of color of gray. And that's why you get if all decisions are consent and everybody, we're not doing our job. We need to represent that gray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely agree. It's a question of timing. My own feeling is every time an agenda bill comes in front of us and we send it back for more work, I'll just tell you, I take that as a defeat. I feel like as a council member that we didn't do our job, that outcome shouldn't have happened. Whatever we just said that caused that to need more work, why on earth wasn't that said before the agenda bill was written, so they didn't have to double up their work? I just feel like a tool like this could help us.
It will help.
So by the time the agenda bill comes, everyone knows what's in that. And by the way, if you had any concerns, staff already knew, it's been addressed. So it's not that there aren't 7 different issues of gray. It's at what point do they come up? right? And frankly, I believe every committee chair has a pretty darn good feeling of, okay, this is one where our committee reflects council. This isn't going to get new shades of gray, or this one maybe not. So let's get this on a roundtable early on before the agenda bill happens. So staff does it once, not twice and 3 times like we sometimes make them do. It's about timing, not, I think we can do better. And I think a tool like this could help us do better.
Okay. I also like walking around the community, what is the city doing for the Railroad Museum?
Right.
Ideally, I
Yeah,
could
you
go
know.
to this, click it and go, here are the things we said we want to do and about the time frame we want to do them in, and here's where we go. That'd be fantastic. Cool.
All right, so it sounds like we'll make a few
So go do
edits and
a
then,
scrub or massage, and then come back. And then not in next council, but the council after that, we'll frame it, send it back for a committee to have those in-depth discussions on what are the things, what's timing, what's current status on any of them. And keep it at that, that discussion's fantastic. I don't want to make it an art project. I want to have a discussion. So just keep it at that level, bulleted list level.
That's one question.
Sure. You didn't like art project?
Mr. Hornsby, would I be correct in believing that this, not solely your work, but in large part is your work?
I help coordinate this, but as far as the content you see in that document, that's a team effort from all departments.
Well, I would just say, it's damn fine work. Please pass that along. And I just think it's damn fine work.
Thank you.
All right. Next thing for discussion. You and I have already been through, she'll catch up with you on the community survey,
Yes, sir.
have that discussion. So we'll table that for tonight. Next item is the Meadowbrook ILA and SVMPD agreement overview.
All right. So this is just an update. Yeah. So we have our chart she's going to put. So as you know, the cities of Snoqualmie and North Bend are the co-owners as tenants in common of the Meadowbrook Farm Preserve. And we've been working together for the past 25 years. We've had a 25-year agreement that actually expired in early May. So both cities, we have been meeting for over a year and are recommending the following structure. So Meadowbrook Farm governing body at the top.
I'm trying to get there with this.
So at this point, the governing body is comprised of the mayor of North Bend, mayor of Snoqualmie, and we are also in the discussions with the Snoqualmie tribe as a potential party to this agreement. And the responsibilities of the governing party would be, budget adoption and funding, contract for restoration, operation, maintenance services, approval of the master plan. So then we created a Meadowbrook Policy Advisory Board, which is down below. And this board would actually recommend updates to the Meadowbrook Farm Master Plan. They would also recommend, capital improvements and provide a budget and recommendations on any policy or use issues. And so the body would be made up of and appointed, so made up of one North Bend staff, one Snoqualmie city staff, a Snoqualmie tribe representative, one person from Meadowbrook Farm Preservation Association. And we have like Snoqualmie Valley Historical Society. So just a variety of different groups that have been involved in the past and would be part of this policy advisory. So they would make recommendations to the governing body, and the governing body then would approve or have further discussion on the different items that they bring forward. Over to the left is the Meadowbrook Farm Preservation Association. And this group has been together for probably the full length of the agreement, which is about 25 years. And it kind of evolved into, basically, they were kind of doing all the maintenance, and eventually they started doing the mowing and a variety of things. And so what we want to do is actually get it back to, what the main purpose should be, which is more docent activities relating to education and kind of interpretation, public engagement, volunteer coordination, scout projects, just a variety of things that they would do. And that group would just be made up of anyone that would want to join, because there's not any policy discussion or anything. It's just more educational. And then over to the right is Skyview Metro Parks District, who actually be bringing forward a contract where they currently do all the reservations for all the events, and they do some light maintenance and stuff around the interpretive center. But then they will also continue doing that, as well as they will actually be doing all the maintenance of the property. So maintenance and operations services. So there will be a couple agreements coming forward. One would be the overall Meadowbrook ILA. So we will renew it, as well as we bring forward a agreement with the Skyview Metro Parks District to perform all the different maintenance and operations. Do you have any questions?
One, this is cool. On the Meadowbrook Preservation.
So that group is education. So anyone can join that.
But
They don't not make any decisions or,
oh, I agree, I understood. Under those my only concern, again, this is cool. The only concern is there may be individuals who want to join that with ulterior motives contrary to the betterment of what that group is intended to do. So there ought to be either the existing members should accept, or the board up above should accept. So at least that you're getting individuals who have good intents. There are individuals with bad intentions who may want to join just be rabble rousing. So you probably do need that filter of some sort, not just an open invitation. And that's up to you.
right. So yes, association made up of interested volunteers, no longer has staff representatives appointed. But
I have two questions, but they're both related to, if we could just scroll up on the screen up to the top, governing body, I think, yeah. So the property that makes up the Meadowbrook Farm, that's the correct, I hope that's the correct way to say it. Am I correct in understanding that that consists of property, some property owned wholly by the city of Snoqualmie and some property owned wholly by the city of North Bend, and there are no other owners of the property involved here? Is that correct understanding or false?
well, so all 462 acres are tenants in common,
Oh, they're the two tenants in common for the whole thing.
right?
You did
So
say
North
that at
End
the beginning.
and Snoqualmie,
Yes.
right?
Okay. And those are the only two owners, right?
That is correct.
And then so that was my first question. The second one of two is, am I correct in believing that the only let me say that differently. Am I correct in understanding that there's a significant outside funding that comes to the Meadowbrook Farm is from the city of North Bend and from the city of Snoqualmie, and that those are the two major outside funders? Is that correct?
That is true. However, it's not very significant because it basically runs itself on revenues from the weddings and everything else that happens, events.
Yep.
Right.
Got it. Okay. The reason I asked those two questions is I think it's fantastic that we're looking to find a voice and a role, a meaningful role for the Snoqualmie tribe in how that property is, what happens with that property. I think that's a fantastic goal. I wholly support that. Having said that, I'm a little troubled by the notion that someone other than the two owners of the land would have, I want to make sure that the right, there, I don't want to say this, that there isn't a third person that actually does, third party that doesn't have ownership interests somehow having ownership interests. So I just want to be careful. I think we should be careful how that's done, but I think involving the Snoqualmie tribe at that level, which my understanding is that's not previously been the case. I think getting them a voice at that level is a fantastic goal. I just want to make sure that we are mindful of who the owners of that property are, which is the citizens, the residents of our two cities, whether they should be or shouldn't be, or how that is a topic for discussion, but it is nonetheless the case. That's who owns that property. So I just want to be clear on that, but giving the Snoqualmie tribe a meaningful voice, I think a fantastic goal. I support it.
Okay. And our goal right now is we're going to bring the Meadowbrook ILA forward for just the cities of North Bend and Snoqualmie. And we'll continue having discussions with the Snoqualmie tribe on what that looks like. So-
Got it. Fantastic.
So
That
that's what you'll
sounds
see
great.
next month. Will be
Okay.
this, and then an agreement with Snoqualmie Valley or Snoqualmie Metro Parks District.
That sounds fair.
Thank you. With that, there are upcoming agenda topics, as you'll see there. I won't, yeah, better, and the Park District agreement will come later. Yes, sir.
I was hoping that, I think, oh, is there a second, I see the second page. Hold on, let me just scan down. Yeah, so I think what needs to be on here and what I think is perhaps the highest priority I have in personally in upcoming agenda items is two items. One is utility rate study. I think it is urgent and it's a lot of work, and I'd like to know, not necessarily tonight, but I would like to know, has a contract gone out? When's the contract going out? What's the time frame for the contract to complete? We need this thing done. I think the council has some action to take, and we got to do it timely. And the sooner we face that, the better, I think. And then this, so I'd like to see that added to the upcoming agenda items, and and then the other. I will bring up the other at our next meeting after we've had our next council meeting and had a chance to have our executive session. It's premature for me to bring up the other item.
I would like to, I believe the rate study discussion should come through Parks and Public Works. So let's make sure it's also on there for you.
Yeah,
Yes,
both,
for
yeah.
their agenda also. Okay. So let's then go review council agenda for next week. On there.
Mr. Chair, one clarifying question. You said the word also, so you wanted to come to both committees?
I think Parks and Public Work has the lead on that discussion, but there ought to be at least status back to F&A what's going on.
Copy that. Thank you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but historically, my understanding of how we've done this is all the projects and timing, staffing, all of the sort of inputs to the rate study come from Parks and Public Works. Once the study's done, we get to the point of saying, okay, now what are we going to do with the output of that? We've got some dollar amounts. How do we want to split the rates between different ratepayer groups and over different time periods? That, I think, has typically been an F&A discussion. No, it starts in Parks and Public Works. Gotcha. So it's more just we stay aware of it.
We stay aware of it. It eventually comes and we need to digest it and buy into it too, but that in-depth discussion on, subsidizing irrigation for benefit or whatever, it's Parks and Public Works.
Got it. Did that clear it up for you?
It did.
Got it.
Not that we haven't taken different paths at different times on different things.
I think he just wanted clarity, so I think you just gave it to him.
Okay. All right, cool. We're actually gonna start at 7. That's what was my most important thing. All right, so we'll do call to order, pledge of allegiance, agenda approval, public hearings, we'll have appointments, swearing in ceremony for another police officer, yay. Presentation of police awards, another yay. And any proclamation, public comments, requests, items not on the agenda. Consent agenda.
Chair,
Oh,
we may have an appointment to Civil Service Commissioner, possibly. So we'll add that.
Okay, but we'll motion that night to add that on.
We'll just add it now. We're setting the agenda.
Oh, just add it now. Okay, I'm sorry. You said maybe, so I thought maybe it was a question, but if we're going to have it, yes, let's add it.
Well, let's add it. And if they, for some reason, don't have it, they can pull it, but let's add it
Yeah.
now. So it's there.
Agreed. All right, consent agenda, approved city council meeting minutes and approved claims report. There was also out of Public Works.
Sandy Cove
Sandy Cove was up there.
and garbage
Wanna wait?
rates.
Parks and Public Works, wanna remember right?
No, move to consent.
Oh, consent, got it.
And I can't remember, what did we do with the amendment?
94.
I think we did the amendment for the King County was also on consent. So, Agenda Bill 23094 is consent. Splash Pad is a continuation of last conversation. Sandy Cove stabilization was also consent. Okay. And we didn't talk Splash Pad because we ran out of time, but it's a continuation of last conversation. All right, so those also come on consent. Public safety has no agenda bills. Community development has resolution of intent for designation of a residential targeted area. All right, if you're gonna, I can put words to it, but you don't want me to, but if you're gonna put an acronym on there, you might want to word it out.
Did that get moved to consent, I thought? I'm pretty sure that was consent.
I don't know. I wasn't at the meeting.
Right, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that was consent.
Say yes.
Oh, yes,
Okay, so Agenda Bill 23107, move that also to consent.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Public Works, we talked about, we'll have the community splash pad, the other items remove up consent, F&A, continuation of Pacific Railroad Train Museum discussion. We've got the email to do homework. I'll send out a reminder. And we're pull the traffic or tracker, sorry. Pull the tracker, bring that back here and maybe go to council in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Okay. Committee of the whole, mayor's report, commission liaison reports, regional liaison updates, and we'll have executive session, closed session pursuant to adoption of strategy, potential executive session pursuant to legal counsel. On labor contract agreements fall under which one of these?
Closed session.
14.
Under 14? Okay. Yes, sir.
so two thoughts. One is Perhaps we could move the model train item much closer to the front. I guess maybe we don't have any ordinances, maybe the first of the committee. What's that?
I said consent.
Consent. Move it up higher. I think the point being, if we're gonna have someone zooming in,
Mhm.
maybe we try to be
That's a good
respectful
idea.
of their time.
That's a good idea.
Can we just move F and A to be top of the agenda for the committees? And
Ooh, that was a power move. Did you see that? That was a power
I
move.
don't do power moves.
Permanently or just for this one meeting?
Now she's asking me the power move question. Just this one, I kind of like that F and A is supports the rest.
Okay, so
Right.
that's, yeah, and then the second item is I just wonder, just hate for us to run out of time, and I think the closed session and in particular might be something, I wonder if we should think of a roundtable for the close, a 6 o'clock start and take up the closed session topic then.
We have interviews.
We do have city administrator interviews that day,
Oh.
all day. So, yeah. One second.
The real question, yeah. It actually works out to be a two-part question of, do you think those interviews are gonna go beyond 6?
Huh.
And do you want to get home at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that's just placeholder. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
So
it's-
there's one closed session item for bargaining and I don't think it's gonna take that long.
So maybe closed session, wait, huh? Did you say that again?
There's one item for closed session and I don't think it's gonna be more than a half-hour discussion.
No,
No?
No.
No. 15-minute discussion.
no, no.
No.
So if you want to
Cool.
tell me 10, it'll be 3 no's? My gauge here?
I had a 50-50 chance it's go lower or higher.
Over under.
So,
I-
okay,
I think it could be easily be an hour discussion. And
okay,
I'd rather get that out of the way for us all rather than see that later in the night.
okay.
Plus, I think the fresher we are, the shorter the
Yeah.
conversation will be, honestly,
Absolutely.
because we'll take it in quicker and
So, and to be muddily clear, I think this discussion is around current contract negotiations.
Correct.
In case you had a different subject in your head.
No, but I'm wondering which group you guys are thinking of and the group I'm thinking of, maybe 2 different groups.
I think we talked one. There's only one left to talk.
Right, okay.
And I think it's more than a 30-minute conversation.
Okay,
and maybe what we do, so we're not sort of somehow twiddling our thumbs if it works out the way you're hoping, maybe we notice it to have the executive session as well. But leave them both noticed on the regular meeting as well, but then that would allow us to go into that, both topics if we have the time.
what time is our?
Yeah, so again, it works out to 2 questions. Do you think the interviews will be done by 6? You want to go home at 9 or 10 o'clock at night?
Interviews are done at 3:30. So it gives us enough time to get some food and
It includes debrief, so.
Okay, so should we start at 6 with a roundtable executive session?
Okay.
Agreeable?
Executive and closed session. Both of them.
Right now, there's only one.
Right now, it says closed session and executive session.
There's a placeholder in there for
Placeholder.
in case
It
there's
says
something else.
potential,
Oh,
potential.
It's a placeholder.
well, should we leave the placeholder then also in the roundtable? Or you can, maybe I'm not following.
No, leave the placeholder at the end of the agenda.
Yeah,
move the
Okay,
topic
okay, got it.
up in the
The
6
round table.
o'clock. And let's just have 6 o'clock around that one topic.
Sounds good.
And if we got time to
You can use the
have
restroom.
cookies, use restroom, whatever at the end of that, great. But we make it out 8, 9 o'clock.
Everyone just heard Holloway's bringing cookies, right? We all
I
heard
was
that.
wondering, I was wondering if I was.
No,
needed
that
to
is
provide
not, that is not a power move to say, go get cookies.
I'm sure I heard that you were bringing cookies.
I
Did-
might
you
bring
heard that,
cookies.
didn't
I did.
you?
I thought I heard brownies.
Yeah, keep it up. I'll be cooking them and you'll see what you get. But anyway. All right. So with those alterations and everything else, we're okay with the council agenda for next week?
Yes, I am.
All right. So let it be written, so let it be so.
Yul Brenner.
There you go. You know the reference. Very good. With that, we are into adjournment.
Wait.
Oh,
Can I add one thing?
yes, ma'am.
So I talked previously about inviting our legislatures to come meet with council. And I was looking at the date, September 25th. So that's a day that we have our council meeting. But I thought we could do either a picture or maybe a ribbon cutting at the Parkway, because it'll be completed by then. And they're the ones that helped get the funding for the Parkway.
Mhm.
And then also maybe we can arrange for a tour or at least drive by of the community center.
Hmm.
And then come and meet with council, and maybe that's a special workshop to talk about legislative priorities.
I love that.
Which also means council needs to work on their legislative priorities.
On the,
Legislative priority.
on the, this 25th?
September 25th.
September. Okay, all right,
Yes.
this. Callie, we're really starting to bulk up on the 25th. All right. No, I'm good with that. That'd be excellent.
And we'll reach out and find out if that works for them. We'll try to at least get 2 out of the 3. And if not, then we'll move it maybe to the next following date. But that gets back to, should that be on FNA? Who's going to work on the legislative priorities? The next,
Let's put it on the
Ready.
agenda for next week or in 2 weeks.
okay,
Let's talk about that.
so we can include a copy of
And
last
let,
year's.
if somebody will nudge me, let's make mention of it at council. Get the rest of the council members, give us some feedback if they want to on legislative priorities.
Thank you.
Good put. Thank you. All right. Moving to adjournment or any objections? Hearing no objections, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Mayor Pro Tem and Lewis, can I see you real quick?